Hi again. Thank you for choosing in my shoes. This is Hilda Broady, your host. I know that I keep forgetting stuff, and I'm going to explain it again. I am TBI, traumatic brain injured, so a lot of times I forget what I'm saying when I'm saying it. Sometimes I forget what I'm saying when I'm thinking it, so I forget what I lose track, and that's just traumatic brain injury. It doesn't mean that people who are TBI are not necessarily dumb, but we do forget, and we ask that you be patient with us because the information does trickle back in. So this is just how it's going to be, and I accept that. Okay, so we're going to continue with last week's episode. We were so engrossed. We were talking about all the other issues that are going on in our city. So without further ado, okay. So we're talking about hope.
And just hope, no matter what you're going through, no matter what's going on around you, having hope and being able to use your mind now and using your mind to create the world that you want. Now, you mentioned something on our last segment. You mentioned a word about reality. Now, reality can be our worst enemy because reality is what it is. We understand our human brain. We know there's about three major parts of the human brain. Then there's what we call the mind. I'm going to try to oversimplify this. The human brain, I'll liken it to a computer. The brain itself is like the hardware. And if that is true, then I'm thinking of the mind as the software or the program. And many years ago, when I studied psychology, Sigmund Freud, and he talked about the mind, and he broke it down into three pieces: the id, ego, and the superego. And the id is what we call back then they called it the subconscious. Now people call it the unconscious. But it's that part of the mind that doesn't know reality. It knows what it knows, but it doesn't. I can say right now, if I could talk to my id or get into my subconscious and tell my subconscious that today is February, and I could tell my subconscious it's July, and my subconscious does not know that it's not. At first, it doesn't know what July and February is. It doesn't, know, but it only knows. It believes what you tell it. So that's important because it doesn't deal with reality. It doesn't deal with the circumstances that I call reality. It doesn't deal with maybe economical situation. It doesn't know about the reality of school shootings. It doesn't know about the reality of the school to prison pipeline. It doesn't know about all of the things that worry us. It only knows what you tell it. And that becomes important because that becomes your launching pad to achieving whatever you want. Now, if you can ever, and by the way, I'm Joe, I'm Bones. I'm not a genius as the world knows geniuses, but I am a genius within my own rights. But these are things that other schools of thoughts and theories and philosophies have put forth. When I was I'm going to use that word practicing, that's not the right word. When I was religion bound or bound by religion, my mind was closed to a lot of alternative thinking and thoughts.
So secular thoughts.
Secular thoughts and what back then I was trained to believe was New Age thoughts. And by the way, I've since learned that Christianity is New Age. So if I heard something that it wasn't, as I would say back then, if it wasn't in the book,
It wasn't.
I can't listen to that. But life has a way of teaching you and talking to you. Subtly, sometimes not so subtle, but to help you get to where you say you want to be. And anyway, so when it came, I remember back then it was something called The Secret. We're talking about The Secret, the book. This big law of attraction, The Secret. It was on Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey did it. Everybody was talking about this thing, The Secret. I was like, I don't know about that. It was pretty much saying, summarize it, that what you think about it's what you get. So it's giving you the power to create your own reality. All right. So
Exactly.
and you know what? Now that I'm no longer bound, as I strive each day to become free, it makes perfectly good sense.
I didn't know about the secret.
Really? Yeah, that was back here. I think I think I heard about like the late '90s.
Wow, I missed that.
Yeah, it was called The Secret. It was a book.
Oh.
I think Rhonda Byrd was her name who wrote the book. You remember back then, Oprah was queen.
All right.
If Oprah said it, it must be true. So Oprah had her on her program. I didn't watch the program at that time, but I heard about it, The Secret. But being bound in my thoughts, mind closed, I wasn't ready to receive all of that. But later on, as you live and you learn, I realized that what they call the secret or the law of attraction was just saying the same things that were in this book, just in terms that we can understand better.
Secular terms.
Secular terms or modern terms. So that whole premise behind that was you get what you think about. You don't have to believe it, but you get what you think about, so you might as well think about what you want. Now that's where this hope comes in at. So to people, not only young, but people in general, as you look around outside and you see what's going on, that's reality. You can see that. I don't need to tell you about it. You can see it like I can see it.
Exactly. So what are we gonna do about it?
The only thing you can do about it is change the only thing you can change, which is yourself.
Which is, well, and then you can pass to help the others to change as well, because the youth are now recognizing that they have a voice.
Yeah.
And it's not they're not being looked upon negatively at this point in time. Every one of those 17 who are 17 now and 18 better be registered to vote.
Yeah.
Okay, every rally that they have, every march that they have, and everybody, every march, every rally, the people with the voter registration thing should be having them filled out, because that's the new revolution. Is if that many people, just the people who are rallying, registered and then voted, we could make some changes, and then there would be hope. Because right now, you got the same people, they talk out of both sides of their mouth, and am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy when it comes to voting. And we talked about voting on here before.
Vote.
You got to vote. But I think, especially since the year 2000, well, my eyes have certainly been open to the voting process. And I mentioned the year 2000 because that was a year where I think it was Bush running against Gore.
Gore lost.
Well,
He won, but he lost.
So the popular vote, he won the people's vote. He had the majority of the votes, but however, processes and through electoral colleges and stuff.
Which I still haven't figured out.
We're going to get there in a minute because all this is about the hope. Anyway, whom the people voted for was not put in office. Now we fast forward again now to this recent election. Same thing. You had current President Trump, running against Mrs. Clinton. Now Mrs. Clinton had the majority of the popular votes, or the people vote. But when it came down to the electoral college again, it didn't go the way the people wanted it. So
how do we change the electoral college, though? What is this place? Where's the building?
It's not much like.
No, I had kids ask me that, so I said I don't know.
Well, I'm glad we're gonna make this a learning experience. Much like Freud's id, ego, and superego, it's not a physical place.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah, you can't go down to Broady, Maine, and go to the electoral college. But that my mind, I was thinking, I said, well, Joe, Bones, it seems like we should still vote and encourage people to vote, but we need to figure out how do we control some of these electoral college votes. And so I did a little superficial research on it. It's the darndest thing. It looks like the person or this electoral college is someone who has perhaps wealth, a lot of resources and wealth, and above all else have the ability to influence or have influence over large amounts of people. So, and I was just thinking, in addition to the voting, 'cause, as a people, the history behind us being able to vote, I'm never going to say don't vote, but to the people that might truly be watching and not just listening to what the news is saying, but actually watching and analyzing and would say, well, that Bones fella, he got that picky hair, but he made some sense. I remember in 2000, when that mess went on and I went out and voted. They said vote, but the person I voted for and a lot of other people vote for didn't become president. And I know he's talking the truth about this last one because that's still in my mind. How we all voted for a certain candidate, the majority of the people, but still I vote. So does it? Why should I vote? That's the question people should be asking themselves now. I know what you're saying. I know the history, but if I'm just going through the motion, then what good is it?
Because you have to hold the people who you vote for accountable. The electoral college. We only hear about the electoral college when it's a presidential election, and I want the local elections. That's why Justin Westbrook Lowry, our savior. He's going to be our savior. I'm telling you, he's 18. No, he's 19 now.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that
promising are young.
Hold these people's feet to the hold it to the fire.
Right.
Let them know you don't do what I'm telling you to do. Matter of fact, what do you plan on doing before you vote for them? And then let them know. And if you don't, you out. And next time, bye-bye, so long, take it easy. Because nobody holds any. Once they get in,
right.
Nobody's holding them accountable. Like, okay, I just got to say this. They're talking about putting tolls in Manhattan. Okay, which is... you messing with my disability money now. You're not going to charge me to go to Manhattan. How dare you?
Right.
Okay, but I wrote to everybody. I wrote to the governor and Gillibrand and Schumer and the whole city council. I got a response from Transit saying it's not what we do. You asking the wrong people about that.
Right.
And Richie Torres' office is the only politician's office that responded to me with a phone call saying, I agree. Excessive ride really is a horrible thing, and because he uses it.
Right.
And he's feeling the same way that I was feeling. I agree. I said, and now we need somebody not only to agree, but to make sure that this doesn't happen. Now, okay, if you want to charge folks, but you need to exempt people because I can't get on the train at Woodlawn.
Right.
It's up 2 flights of stairs. Right. So don't tell me take the train, and then I don't have to pay the toll when I can't get to the train. The closest accessible train to me is Fordham Road.
Right.
How do I get there?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. It's not only I'm saying vote, but the accountability part is where we lose something because nobody is saying you need to be held accountable for it. And that's why somebody who said that they was in office for 40 years or something like that. Somebody has in Congress for
quite a few,
so many terms that it was like many lifetimes. And you sit there and you say, and what have you done? What have you accomplished? Do you feel that something has been accomplished, even if I don't see it? Tell me, have you? What accomplishments have been made? What have? And our people don't tend to hold people accountable. We are reactive, not proactive.
Right.
So it's like I didn't like that, and then quiet.
Forget about it. But you gave that's the answer. We threw the question out, and the answer is until we can better deal with the electoral college situation, is that the local elections
are the ones that
are more. The closer the person is to you, that's the more important.
Yes.
On the smallest level.
Well, you can walk to their office. And they right in your neighborhood.
And normally we say that blank flows downhill. In this case, it goes uphill. Because the closer the elected official, I'm trying to think. Was it in New York City? It's district leader, I think. It's not.
City council? It's not city
Something
council?
below city council.
Really?
It's like it's I think it's
Community board?
community board, but there's also something that
Somebody lower than
I
that?
think it's called district leader, who could actually be for a couple of blocks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been a while, but I think it's district leader, then community board, then your, you know,
City council?
and there's something before city council.
Really?
It's,
Borough.
something before borough. It's maybe we need to do a program on that.
We
On
gotta
the,
find
the
out what
structure.
the structure of our government because we don't know it.
Assembly. I think the assembly is before. No, that's
No,
for
the
state.
assembly is
That's
for
the
the state legislature.
But it's something else. Oops.
Okay, so blank
Blank. But the closer they are to you,
is the ones that you
that's-
need to be,
and on out, it goes outward.
and they should know your name.
Matter of fact, that's like that hope I keep talking about. And looking in, it starts in and then goes out. So the closer that elected official is to you physically, I mean, to your home, to your block, that's the one that really you can really influence and push it on up the hill. You know, make them accountable and have them push it on. You know, they'll say, well, you're calling about this. Well, you know, Miss Hilda, that's out of my pay grade, and send it to the person whose pay grade it falls within. They keep pushing it up until you get your answers. But certainly the Electoral College is something, this is the visionary part of me. This is that hope I'm talking about, that at some point in the future,
We can be members.
we can get some of those votes, because it comes down to votes,
We have to get members in there.
members in there, and that way we can have a say when in these national elections.
Yeah, because when you think about it, number 45 said he didn't want to be president.
Yeah.
And he's done everything. I mean,
Not to be president. He
he's
can't get fired.
insulted.
He can't get fired.
He's insulted everybody. Think about it. And from front, and yeah, I grew up there, and I didn't care. And that was, he doesn't want the job.
So, you know, you're the second person I heard say that to me.
He said it.
Yeah.
He was on TV.
Wow.
He said it.
Wow.
He doesn't want this job. What's taking them so long to hear that?
Remember that television show that he had back there some time ago, and I never watched it. I just saw the previews. You are fired.
You're fired. No,
That's
he
what
doesn't
he
want
wants
to
to-
be fired. He wants to be gone.
Yeah.
He doesn't like being told what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. He's used to being in charge and the boss. And the president has to have. He's supposed to. See, he's tweeting because they can't take his phone from him. Anyway.
Anyway, amid all of that, you have to find the hope, and that's that vision. That's that burning belief. It all comes down to belief, people.
Yeah.
What you believe in, and you have to believe. If to set your goals, and I was talking to a niece of mine just recently about belief, and I was telling, she's in college now down in Charleston, South Carolina, and I was just telling her that, you know, you can be whatever you want to be. And we all heard that growing up. I mean, I heard that you can be whatever, but no one told you how.
True.
So
You had to find your way.
And I'm trying to tell her and the people, we're trying to tell you how to do it now. You have to figure out how to program or reprogram that part of your mind, that essence, that part of you that no one else can see. And you do this, you can get in touch with that through meditation. I'm not going to push religion, but through just that time when you quiet your mind and you quiet your body and you go into that me time when you just retrospect and you're sitting in. Most of us don't have enough quiet time. You know, just those few minutes, and you're just sitting and you're thinking and you're allowing thoughts to go out and come in. And get those goals going, and you have to believe it. And I was telling my niece, I said, now, listen to me. It doesn't matter whether I believe you. What matters is that you believe you. I'm saying you can be, I said, if you want to be a young black woman astronaut that's going off into space, or if you say, I want to be the first woman president of the United States, you can do it. I said, I believe it now. I said, whatever you set your goals, your aspirations, and unfortunately, sometimes you're better off not sharing it with people because you have what we call the dream killers. And even though it's not important that they believe it, they'll talk you into not believing it. Mm-hmm. So hope and belief, we're going somewhere. It all goes hand in hand. You have to first have the audacity to hope that even though it looks like I'm living in a war zone, I can't make head from tails, but I have the audacity to hope that I want better. I believe there's better. You can't tell me otherwise. Now you have the power to create or design what that better looks like. I'll talk about myself for a minute. Throughout my life, I go through what I call 13-year cycles. And I like to think of it as like a school, because I think of life as a learning experience. So it's like 13 years, and every 13 years I graduate. Some of the classes are fun, some are not so fun. So I've been in this 13-year cycle. Matter of fact, I met you in a 13-year cycle. It's not one that I'm enjoying, but I make the conscious decision to try to spend the time wisely. So that's why I went on and I went on and officially became a minister, because I'm already doing the work anyway. Trying to use the time wisely. And I went on and delved deeper into what we call metaphysical. That's just everything beyond the physical. Matter of fact, this crazy stuff you hear me talk about now, about the things you can't see, that's the non-physical. Just because you can't see it or it's non-physical doesn't mean that it's not real.
Exactly.
And I've also, the cream on my crop is I'm studying now to become what we call a Reiki master. And I'll spell Reiki, that's R-E-I-K-I, and that has to do with natural healing. We talked on the last segment about the body and the universe and being in peace and balance. And as I get older, I'm shocked at the number of people that are, what I would call young people, and they're dying, heart attacks and strokes and diseases. And I believe that there's a cure for everything. I'm talking about my belief now. This is hope. So I'm not just talking at you, I'm talking about what I'm doing for myself. And I have to believe, as every time I bury someone from cancer, I have to believe that there's a cure. And I also believe that I can be instrumental in finding that cure.
Okay.
But once again, I don't care what you believe, I need to believe this. And as we're talking to each other and to the audience, and that's the point I keep going back to, the hope and the belief. You got to believe. And to the young, to the old, to everything in between, you set your goals, and I'm glad I said young and old, because it's okay, your goals can change, you may accomplish them, you might say, well, I think I'm going to tweak that one, or you're never, at every age, you should always be looking forward to living. And just because you're a little older than I am, doesn't mean you have to be getting ready to make up your dying bed, as they say back in the South. Get ready to live, enjoy life.
Exactly.
And when you do that, others around you, I'm talking to the seniors now, when the seniors have that seized life, it ain't over till it's over, and I'm going to live, and I'm making plans, people around you can garner hope from watching you.
Exactly. Like my 82-year-old bowler.
There you go. And now 80, they say 80 is the new 60.
Yes.
Because 80-year-olds now are not like the 80-year-old I knew back when I was a teenager.
No, they were old.
They were ancient.
They were old, and now
80, 90, you still living.
when I'm looking at Donald, he's kicking butt with the 18 and 19-year-olds butt. So I'm like,
But you remember what I'm saying back in the day. Matter of fact, 50 was old, 60 was old,
40 was
40 was old.
really, when you think about it.
So yeah, that. So you keep on making goals and setting goals, and you keep expecting to live and preparing to live. Whether you live or not is not important. But you keep.
You're ready for it just in case.
That's the hope I'm talking about, and you got to believe it and dig deep within yourself. And I mentioned about the illnesses, and that's a special point for me now, a sore point. Maybe perhaps you're looking at this program and you're saying, well, I'm dealing with some type of chronic or debilitating illness. I've been to every doctor in the world, and they say I'm hopeless. Never let anyone tell you you are hopeless. The burden is on you. You have to believe that no matter what it is, you have to believe that maybe today I don't have a dime in my pocket, but I believe that it won't be like this always, or one day I have more than enough I can share. So no matter what life circumstance is, the hope that you need, you can only get it from within. And I'm sorry, people, that's not true. I know we're putting the burden on you, but that's where it belongs. It's for you. it's for you, so it's on you. But that also means it gives you control of you. You have to fight from within, and I don't always mean a physical fight, but just that undying belief. And my attitude is, make it, try as you may, try as you might. Make it or not make it, I'll die trying. I will continue till my last breath, believing that the goals that I set, and I'm thankful that I've seen many of them. I have seen many come, goal attained, fruition, accomplished, and I believe then that if that much has happened, then the rest will happen. But set it high. I don't like personally. I don't like.
Well, if you set the bar high, and what we used to do is when we saw that we were getting close to it, we would raise it a little more and say, oh yeah, I forgot, and then the bar would go up a little more. So we was always trying to attain something else, but that's Broadyitis too. So.
Real life. A friend of mine, I said, look, I said, hey buddy, I saw you in a dream. I was like, you know what, and you. I think you called me or something on the phone. I says, I used some choice words. I says, in a dream, you don't call somebody on the phone. In a dream, you should be flying across skies. That your dream life, your dream state is where you do things that you can't imagine doing here. This is where you beam me up, Scotty. You just. It's make-believe, the land of make-believe. So in your dreams, I'm like, you should really go out on a limb. And I'm tying that back into your imagination. So as you draw up the blueprints for your life, wherever you are today, as you sketch out where you want to be, don't be afraid to dream. Just because it's never been done doesn't mean it can't be done. People always say, don't be afraid to think out of the box. And somebody says, if you're aware of the box, you're already lost. Don't know the box. And I'm getting excited as I'm saying this because it's bubbling up inside of me. But don't be afraid to remember, you are the leader or the king, the ruler, the queen of your universe. Run it as you see please, as you see fit. So don't be afraid of saying, well, no one's ever done that. Then be the first.
Okay, I'll be a trailblazer.
Yeah, be the first. Don't be a follower. Don't be afraid to say, well, I never heard of it. Then make it happen. People said it can't be done. Then prove them wrong.
Exactly.
This is the gift of life that we're experiencing here in the physical. To push it to the next level. To challenge things that people say that can't be done, to educate and inform people and show them that, well, maybe in your world, but in my world, in my mind, I can see how it can work. And to the young, old, everything in between, and this is an ongoing process, talking about hope in times that seem hopeless. Look within, and I'm pushing, I know how this culture now with religion, so I'm just going to say, meditate or prayer, whatever you do, but take some quiet time, get into yourself, get to know yourself. You'll like what you find.
That's right. Stop running from yourself.
And the answers, you hear me talking now about helping to find cure for diseases and things that 10 years ago I didn't think about. But all answers exist. We just have to tap into it. And when I keep talking about going within yourself, to whether some people call it the higher self, but to tap into that part that is similar to what we call the internet, that energy or that band that ties everything together, that contains all knowledge, and use your access code. Get in there, and don't be afraid to ask questions and wait. Now, many of us ask questions, but there's two parts. Someone jokingly said that when you pray, you're talking to God. And some people pray a lot. It says when you meditate or quiet yourself, then God talks to you. So when we put it out there, don't be listen. And when it comes back at you, don't doubt it. You know, even though it may be strange. You know, we had a little pre-show discussion about an automobile that Hilda's car and how the car talked to her. Now, I'm not exactly crazy. It didn't come out and say, "Good morning, Hilda," you know, but it gave her signs letting her know that something was not right. And she told me this story, and I really, you know, little things, it was dropping clues. But it was up to Hilda to realize, you know.
Are you going to listen? You're going to take these hints, or you're going to have an adventure?
Yeah.
And luckily, we took the hint.
Took the hint.
And we live.
And you're here to talk about it.
Thank you, because we would not have made it without breaks.
And that's life. Life will teach you, but you have to be willing to learn.
At least recognize that the hints are coming.
Yeah. And be thankful. Part of the gratitude is, right now, if Hilda says, "Joe, would you give me that pen for a second?" I said, "Okay, here you go." And anyway, she asked me another time, and she never says, "Well, thank you, Joe." Eventually, I'm going to say, "Get your own pen." Yeah, eventually, I says, "Get your own pen." So when these answers come, or when we get into that zone, as they say, instead of complaining and whining, what will support your hope and help it to grow is be thankful for the little things. You know, I thank you for those hints you dropped the other day, and I thank you for this. And with the gratitude, you get more of good stuff.
That's it. Oh. And of course, we're out of time.
Wow.
So, with that, thank you so much. Always. Okay.
And,
to my audience, I say, I want to thank you for choosing in my shoes. Thank Joe for sharing. And yes, he'll be back. I'd like to talk about a different approach. This is a different approach's 27th year in existence. A different approach, intergenerational education facilitation and bowling clinic has been in existence now. A different approach has been in existence since 1991. We need an academy. Our kids are here, there, getting in trouble, going to jail. When bowling centers are closing down, I want to open an academy so that at least 200 of our kids in the Bronx can be saved from that street out there, which is not doing them any good. Oh, I forgot. There are rumors going around that we know that the 13th Amendment did not free the slaves. We know that the 13th Amendment says that you can't be a slave in this country unless you are convicted. We need to keep saying it. Unless you are convicted. Once you are convicted, you are a slave. So we were trying to do a study on how much inmates that are working in the prisons are paid as opposed to people on the outside. And guess what? There's no set salary. It's not called a salary, though. It's I don't even know what the heck they're calling it in jail. And so outside it's a salary. Inside it's, I don't know. But if they're privatizing the prisons and they're not paying even minimum wage to the prisoners, these companies are making a whole lot of money. Let's look at Corecraft. I found out recently from someone who just got out of prison that he worked in one of the places that made furniture for Corecraft. And guess what? When people are released, you can't get a job at Corecraft, even though you have the skill, because people are spending years in prison making the furniture, making whatever Corecraft does. Okay, what can we do so that our young people realize that even at minimum wage, Their life is worth more. Way, 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 way more than what they're going to be given in prison. And what I was saying about, I hope that this is a rumor, but I'm not sure. They're talking about charging rent to people in prison. Well, I don't know how they would pay rent, because if they were doing criminal activities just to get by, I don't know if it's going to be stuck on the parents, or, well, some people are old people that are going to jail too, though. But I don't know who's gonna be paying this rent. But please, if you're out there and someone has provided me with misinformation, send it to me, because I don't think a whole lot about the criminal justice system. So it's not a leap to think that they would be charging people who don't have anything, because I know that when people are released, they have to pay something for their supervision. So it's just one step, though. Okay, so you have to pay because you're in jail and we're feeding you too. Okay. Now let's talk about the surrogate court. Why does it take more than 6 months to get an extension on temporary surrogate testimony paper? Why does it take that long? What are they doing in the surrogate office that nothing seems to be getting done? Why does it take years and years? Time wasted. I'm not sure. I don't know who to write to about this. If you know how to get the surrogate court office, is it an office? The clerks in the court office to do their jobs for real. If you apply for something for 6 months and you still don't have it, it makes no sense. Just because the person is dead does not mean that things stop. If the affairs are not in order, we can't do anything without authorization. So get with it, get with it, get with it. I'd like to give you some feedback on a couple of the people who were here. Really felt that time here was well spent. Sassy girls do rock, and they have been giving free self-defense to teenage young ladies, victims of domestic violence as teenagers. Thank you, thank you, thank you, sassy girls. Also, the start of the football training for young people is about now. Jamil Parker Hunley, he used to be one of my bowlers, but he wanted to run. There's no running in bowling. He wanted to jump. There's no jumping in bowling. So he's playing football now, and they won the championships for the city this past season, 2017 season. And unfortunately, they couldn't go to the Florida for the Nationals because they didn't have funds for it. So we're trying to get the word out that these kids are doing things that are positive. They're in our neighborhood and they're doing things that are positive. They're not hurting anybody. They're getting excellent grades, and they need funds. Just like the different approach. Okay, everybody is not going to bowl, although I wish they would. But at least we can help our kids, the kids that come into us and saying, yes, 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 we can help them to make a positive difference. We were reviewing some of the negative occurrences that have been happening recently, and even as horrible as it's been, no reason for us to start being negative. We'd better increase our positive behaviors, because maybe we can exude the positiveness even further. Because I'm actually getting people back into the different approach fold now that have been gone for a while, and they are pushing it forward and saying, yes, yes, I remember, we need to. And that's really what it's all about, is helping our young people to connect with positive adults, helping our senior citizens connect and share their wisdom, because just because you're old don't mean you became stupid. It means that we really need our young people, because, and I keep saying it, I want them graduating from high school and reading and doing everything positive, because who's going to give us our medication? Who's going to take care of us unless it's the next generation? And if they're a lot of them are in prison, and then the others are not educated, we are in trouble. We can't expect our young people to just know out of the blue. It's not going to just trickle in. We need to share it. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, what do they say? It really does take a village to raise a child, but it also takes that village to steady that child. It takes the village to be there for that child. And unfortunately, our village is so scattered because everybody is working so hard trying to make ends meet. And that's really what it is, trying to make ends meet, that all of us need to reach out and touch and bring them into the fold. The thing that's really making me crazy is President Obama opened up the doors to Cuba for us. I'm of Cuban descent, and I should have ran to Cuba as soon as it was done, because now individuals can't go. President Obama would seem to be a step ahead of the Russians. Okay, we're trying to do I think the Cuban Missile Crisis of the 60s all over again. Because if the United States is out and Russia is in, and they're going to have bases there, they're right there, we're at a time when we have to really look carefully about what's near us, what's in our house, and who wants to hurt us. It's getting really, really scary, and nobody seems to be saying anything about how similar what's going on is. I know there's no missile there yet, but if the United States is out and Cuba is saying, we're not accepting this, and we're not letting we're not sending your prisoners back, and we're trying to, Castro is no longer in power. The Cuban people want to be free. We have to make a way. We don't have to slam the door shut and not let people in, because I'm afraid that Russia is going to go in. They've already messed with our election. Now they're going to be our neighbors, because that's what it appears, that they are going to be our neighbors. If we're not in there, then the Russians are going to be in there. What are we going to do about the homeless situation? We have had meetings regarding the shelter system, the transitional housing system. I spoke about affordable housing earlier, and the fact that there is no affordable housing. Now, if I've never understood how or why the city can spend thousands of dollars a month for someone to stay in a hotel that's housing homeless people, and yet if someone is single with no children, they allocate $215 a month. If you have one child, it's $237 a month. I believe if you have two children, it's 260 something dollars a month. No, 50 something dollars a month. That is outrageous. That is ridiculous. That's not even. We're at a loss. We're gonna do a show. We want help with that show. greenpen53@yahoo.com. Jobs. When I worked at Vested, I did job placement for 13 years. Employers have changed. It is really an employer's market now because the field is flooded. The schools have not really prepared our young people for what is required of them in the world of work, and therefore they're coming out of school with no skills, low skills, which is pushing them toward low pay or no pay, which is sending them to the streets. We are trying to get a group together just to address what the Department of Education has failed to address. Our mayor is fighting to maintain control of the Department of Education, but the schools are lacking. I've watched so many kids graduate and then come back and say, and now what do I do? A lot of them have difficulty just reading. And what are we as adults doing about it? We're not making any noise because I haven't seen any protests. We protest about so many things, and nobody is protesting to say our young people need to be educated because we're getting older. Who's going to take care of us? If Johnny and Susie can't read, will they be able to read the medication vials? If I'm in a nursing facility, will they be able to do anything? Nobody wants to be on public assistance, but we're creating a whole generation of public assistance recipients, and I'm scared. Because we really want people to know that when bad things happen to us, to you, you don't let that take over your life. And bad things been happening to me since I was 3 months old. And I refused to let it take over my life. And there's so many people out there who think that if somebody does something bad to them, that they're a bad person so that they don't have to do good. Because if we don't do something about the lack of love in our society, we're going to keep being denigrated. We're going to keep being killed off by people who have no reason or nothing to do other than to hurt. We really are walking that short path where it could be scary, but it should be, we're happy. And I'm really doing it now. I started, when I walk down the block, I'm smiling. And when I'm seeing people, I'm saying, good morning, how you doing, what's up? And you know, some people who never said hi to me before turn around and go, hey, what's up, how you doing? That's the start. That's the start. We have senior citizens now who are fighting to have something, I should say, to have control over their assets. How do we do this? I have a friend now who's in a facility and he has no control. We don't want our senior citizens all in facilities, and they're having something now called, it's better for the person to be in their home. So they're trying to work out a system where home care is coordinated with the senior citizen and the senior citizen's family, because there's no place like home, be it ever so humble. That song is so true. I have a friend whose dad was in the hospital and he didn't want to go to a rehab facility because I think he felt that he was going to be shanghaied there and nobody was ever going to come and get him out. Now he has difficulty walking, but he insisted on being sent home. He has no home care. We have to work out a system where if a hospital is going to release someone to home, what does 4 hours of home attendant do for a person who is non-ambulatory, who can't walk? So where's the food coming from? Who's changing or providing the bedpan or changing the diaper? And is this really appropriate? We're not providing adequate services to the people who need it the most. And we better wake up and smell this coffee, because we get into that age where it could be us. And I want to make sure that if I need the care, that it's going to be there. And it has to be in place before. I'm going to keep saying it. It has to be in place before. So do your planning now, while it's not a problem. So let's go over it again. We want to look at, remember, if you are convicted, the 13th Amendment says that's the only way you can be a slave in this country, is to be convicted. So I'd like to do an episode just on, let's volunteer to be a slave. I'm going to be a slave, because every time you break the law and are convicted, you're a slave. People are saying that people who are convicted have rights. One of my majors in undergraduate was Black Studies, and slaves had no rights. So demanding rights, the only way to make sure your rights are upheld, or at least have a fair chance at having them upheld, is to not break the law. Okay, I said my piece already, so I want to thank you for choosing In My Shoes. I'm Hilda Kathy Broady, your host, and I'll be with you soon. Stay well.
Yeah, M-Wham got a message for you. Check it out. I've been less offended by the boxers, all the sagging pants in our community. I got a song for you. Check it out. Here we go. Come on.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up.
Yeah.
It's the new style.
Come on, collect, talk to me.
Say, Mr. Harris, sagging jeans is an epidemic.
That's right.
One that I've never been a fan of. And I can't stand how these young men, they sagging, they dragging. Come on, pull your pants up. And I know us girls, we in the wrong for not putting these fellas on.
You got the power.
But I'm offended by boxers. And I think that we all should be.
Come on, help me.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up.
Why?
It's the new style.
Come on.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up.
Yeah.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. It'll make your mama proud.
Here we go.
We living in a world affected by an epidemic. Sagging jeans is sweatpants is how I'm living. Need to set the example to make the future right. So hey, our message when we hit you with the chant like, pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up.
It's kinda catchy.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. It's the new style. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. It'll make your mama proud.
I know you heard your belt say. You know your belt was talking to you this morning. Said, come on, just take me with you. I just wanna help you all day keep your pants up. I just wanna throw myself around you and hang out with you all day long. But you know what? You didn't listen, so now we don't have to tell you this. Come on, say it.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. It's the new style. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. It'll make your mama proud.
In my shoes, we really are taking a different approach to servicing the world.